Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. Coming up later in the program, I'm going to be visiting with Mindy Weiss. She's the author of The Wedding Book. This is a really cool book. We got a copy of it here. I want to get married again.
Okay.
Well, it would be to you, so we get remarried. A lot of cool ideas in here. Hey, authorities in Kashmir, India have banned the use of the word widow. They no longer have that. Instead of using widow, they'll use wife of late because they say the word widow makes people feel more depressed. Really? I think it's the fact that they lost their husband.
Yeah,
no matter
I don't
what
think
you
it's
say.
so much the word. I
don't think so either.
Yeah.
Scientists have discovered that Earth's gravity is less in northern Canada than it is on like parts of the world that are lower than that. So if I moved to northern Canada, I would weigh less.
There you go.
See? It's a good plan. And at any time, about 0.7% of the world is drunk. That's roughly 50 million people that are drunk right now.
Oh.
One of them may be in this studio. Just kidding. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Today is American Libraries Day. It's a day to celebrate your library. That's a good thing to celebrate. It's also Ecological Debt Day today. It is Jackie Mayer Rehab Day today. It is National German American Day. You're German American, aren't you?
I'm German, Swedish, Irish American.
So, and I'm somewhat German American as well. I got some German in there and some Swedish and some other stuff. So German Americans celebrate today. National Depression Screening Day today, and Mad Hatter Day today. I got to be the voice of the Mad Hatter on a recorded.
I remember this.
What do you call it? Audiobook?
Audiobook.
Yeah, I got to be the voice, and it wasn't the Mad Hatter in that version. It was just called the Hatter.
Right.
So I don't remember exactly how I did that voice, but it wasn't just my regular voice. It was some crazy thing like that. So I don't remember what it was, but that was a lot of fun. So anyway, Mad Hatter Day today. I'm going to have to celebrate. I'll dig around and see if I can find a copy of that CD and play it. How's that sound?
There you go.
Not on the radio, because that's just awful. So anyway, I didn't say it was a good job. I just said I did it. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Legally, we gotta have insurance. That's why getting the very best rate is paramount. I'm Jared Parsons. I founded the first national and virtual insurance agency. Until now, you were limited to the agents in your area. But what if the rates are better somewhere else? At Parsons, we shop around and we get you the best rate. It's that simple. Go to radioinsuranceguy.com. That's radioinsuranceguy.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Have you ever heard of the baby diet?
No.
No, I haven't either. And I hope that it's not eating babies, because if it is, that's just disgusting.
I doubt that's what it is.
Claire Argo went to the doctor for back pain and left with a baby. Yeah, 27-year-old had no idea she was pregnant. In fact, she was on a diet and had lost some weight. Doctors soon realized that you have more than back pain. You're in labor. A trip to the hospital. 4 hours later, she gave birth to a healthy 8-pound, 3-ounce baby boy.
I don't understand how that's even possible.
Yeah.
Having had children, I don't know how it's possible you can not know you're pregnant.
Well, she thought there
You
was
can feel the
something-
baby moving around.
If she'd never had a child before, she might not know what was going on.
Are you kidding?
I've never had a baby, so I don't know what it feels like. So I've had indigestion before, and I thought, oh, what was that? Do I have an alien inside of me? I don't know what I ate today. So I can imagine that if you don't know what the feeling is in there, you could think it is something else. And she didn't know she was pregnant, so I don't know. Interesting stuff. That happens more often than you would think.
I know. I just don't get it.
And we know somebody personally that happened to.
Again, though, having experienced it myself, I just don't know how that's possible.
So the baby diet apparently is have the baby and you lose weight. Is that what they're talking about, the baby diet?
Well, yeah, she did lose weight.
Here you go. I was thinking there was some sort of thing we could all take away from this, but apparently there's not. So
it won't work for you.
If you do write a book called The Baby Diet, you're probably not going to sell many copies, because that's most likely not going to be the plan for most people. I was just reading about the woman who had the most children. And it was 69 kids.
Okay.
One lady had 69 children. And this is back in like the 1800s, when they didn't have TV or anything else to do. So, and the man with the most children, guess how many children he had?
How many?
Over 1,000.
Oh, that's just insane.
Yeah, multiple different mothers, but one father, and that was also like in the 1800s. So just crazy. All right, coming up, we've got some more fun stuff on this Thursday edition of the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. Ever wonder what would happen if you ignored those barricades they set up on the roadways to keep you from driving past them? Well, one guy found out the hard way. Guess what? He was drunk as well. David Potsma, 22, drove around some barricades and some heavy equipment to go over a bridge. The problem was, well, there was no bridge. It was under construction. He got about halfway across by driving on the unpaved I-beams, making the bridge structure. Yeah, no kidding. And then it dropped between two of the open beams, falling 35 feet to the ground below. Potsma was critically injured, and a passenger was in fair condition. Sheriff spokesperson says alcohol was definitely a factor.
And there was a passenger in the car that wasn't even aware enough to say, this is a bad
sure
idea.
We should do this? Yeah, they drove. There's no bridge. Well, there's I-beams. We'll just line up with those I-beams.
Oh, my gosh, that is insane.
That is a terrible idea. I don't know what he was drunk. He wasn't thinking. Kids, this is why you should never drink and drive. And this is definitely what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh. Have you ever heard of a football protest with pudding?
No.
Tennessee Titans fan Clay Travis vows to eat nothing but pudding until the NFL allows broadcast of his favorite team in the Caribbean. He went to law school at Vanderbilt in Nashville, now lives in the U.S. Virgin Islands and cannot watch his favorite team, the Tennessee Titans. The NFL does not let local sports bars televise games that are not being broadcast locally. He knew that this probably is not going to help, but he's going to go on a complete hunger strike, he said. Then he decided, no, I'm going to eat pudding. So, do you think the NFL cares if you're eating pudding?
I have no clue.
He's like, I'm going to go on a hunger strike until you get this done. Well, not completely. I'm going to eat some pudding. But until you let me watch the game, I'm going to eat nothing but pudding. Meanwhile, the NFL's going, we're going to buy stock in the pudding companies. It's just a dumb idea. All right, we've got your scoop of the day on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. Say goodbye to plastic plates in France. The country is the first to ban plastic cups and plates and silverware in a law that will take full effect in 2020. By that time, all disposable dishes in France will instead have to be made from biological sourced materials, and products must be able to be composted. So they're saying no more plastic silverware in France. What do you think of that?
I don't think that's a bad idea. If it's not decomposing, we need to have a better plan.
My grandmother would be disappointed because she likes to reuse that stuff. We'll go places like, oh, give me your silverware. I'm like, Grandma, what are you talking about? You have silverware at home. Hey, beginning this week, the government will pay for gender reassignment treatment surgeries for soldiers. So there you go.
Oh my
Do you think they'll have a lot of people that want that? Do you think there's, I don't know, maybe that's a big thing. I have no clue. The University of Wisconsin says they'll be watching for any Halloween costumes that demonstrate any kind of racism. So there you go. That's the University of Wisconsin. Men in their 40s and 50s who eat 7 or more eggs a week have a higher risk of dying early, according to a 20-year study of 21,327 male physicians by researchers at Brigham and Women's Hospital and the Harvard Medical School. So there you go. That was a whole lot to say. Here's what they're trying to say. Men in their 40s and 50s don't eat more than 7 eggs a week. Otherwise, you might not be doing well. That's a lot of eggs anyway.
That's a lot of eggs.
But I probably eat more than 7 eggs because, I'll do a couple here and there. And I don't have eggs every day, but when I do, I bet I eat more than that. So my risk of dying younger is apparently better, according to this. Is that a good thing? I don't think that's a good thing. People with initials like ACE, ACE, or initials like GOD, God, are likely to live longer than people whose names spell out things like APE or DUD or RAT or PIG. The study looked at 27 years worth of California death certificates. And they say people with initials that add up to good things live longer than people with initials that don't add up to good things, that add up to bad things.
I think that's just silly.
You think it's DUM?
I don't think there's anything to that at all.
I don't know. What are your initials?
How would that change the way you live?
HLS. It doesn't stand for anything. No. Mine are JES, Jess. That doesn't really stand for anything either. Hey, and again, I have no clue. They're saying that they think that it has to do with like your initials. If it's ACE, it's positive. Like, hey, I'm ACE. And if it's something that's negative, like dud, they think that psychologically makes you die earlier. I don't know. I have no clue. I didn't read the study. I didn't care that much. Did you?
No, okay. Not at all.
The rise in drone popularity has opened a new industry: anti-drone defense systems. New technologies are being developed in order to keep drones away from places they shouldn't be or keep them from doing things they shouldn't do. So they're going to have eyes on the sky to shoot drones down.
I think they need that because you don't want, you hear all these stories about people flying drones over someone's yard when somebody is outside sunbathing in their own yard.
A father that shot one out of the sky with a shotgun.
And that's perfectly within his rights as far as I'm concerned.
That was his anti-drone device.
Yeah.
Just a shotgun. And our final story here. What if a drug could help you gain some of the benefits of exercise without working up a sweat?
Well, that would be amazing.
In a study, sedentary mice that took a drug called AICAR, AICAR, for 4 weeks burned more calories and had less fat than untreated mice. When tested on a treadmill, they could run about 44% further and 23% longer than untreated mice. Just how well those results might translate to people is still an open question, but researchers say someday such a drug might help treat obesity and diabetes and people with medical conditions that keep them from exercising. I have one of those. It's called laziness.
Yeah.
That's the one that keeps me from exercising. And no willpower. GW1516 made their workout much more effective at boosting endurance. The research is published online by the journal Cell, and it's CELL, not SELL. So if you're looking for that miracle drug they're talking about. Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We got a special guest coming up.
John and Heidi.
Election day is almost here. No matter which side you're rooting for, you now have a place to get informed and to truly voice your opinion at PoliticalStorm.com. An amazing resource with information from people on both sides of the aisle, all in one place. Watch videos, read blogs, listen to podcasts like mine, and read fun editorials. You can also contribute with your own blog for free. Be a part of the community at PoliticalStorm.com. You have a choice, and now you have a voice, too, at PoliticalStorm.com. That's PoliticalStorm.com. Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. We've got a special guest joining us right now, Mindy Weiss. She's the author of a book called The Wedding Book, an expert guide to planning your perfect day your way. Mindy, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Very good. And one of the things that's interesting, here we are in October, and there are still weddings galore going on all over the place. October and September, these months are actually getting more and more popular for weddings, aren't they?
Very good. They are. I'm out in California, so we are year-round, but destination weddings are huge in those months.
And this is a time of year, one of the things, as we get a little closer to the holidays, people are doing weddings now near Thanksgiving, near Christmas, because they know families are going to be together. So these are really kind of in the beginning of some really busy wedding months. And people also start to plan their weddings earlier and earlier. So I know that there are people right now getting ready for next summer and maybe even some for 2018. So if they're right now thinking, I want to get ready, I want to make sure that I've got the best wedding for me, what kind of things can they learn about in your book?
Well, it's a revised book from my big book for your big day. This is called The Wedding Book. And I had to bring it up to date because of all the great new social media. You know, John, a hashtag is just as important sometimes as picking out the flowers.
No kidding.
Sometimes we spend days on hashtag names. So social media, same-sex marriage, a lot of new information on decor, and all these millennials are getting married. I had to update the book because they do so much research for their weddings. It's amazing what I learn now from my brides and grooms.
And it's really cool that you've been able to take what you've already had, which was an amazing book, and then update it now with more information. So this next generation of youngsters getting married, I can't believe how young some of these people are that are getting married. They're just kids in my mind, but maybe that means I'm getting old. But they have technology available to them that we didn't have when we were kids.
Absolutely. Sometimes they bring in new videographers, new photographers that I have never heard of, and I have to tell you, we've hired them, and they've become a regular as one of my vendors because the millennials look for things that sometimes I just don't have time to do.
Something else that's kind of a new thing, and it's not available everywhere, but it's getting more and more common, is Uber. And you said you should be inviting Uber to your wedding, shouldn't you?
Absolutely, and they can give you a special discount price for a big party like that. We're very conscious, my office and my staff, of people driving drunk. And, of course, people are having a good time, and they may drink too much. So Uber is the best option, and we actually put a little note in the invitation saying consider that as your transportation for the night. One
of the other things that's been really popular over the last few years is people are watching these crazy TV shows with the cakes, Cake Boss, and all these programs with the amazing wedding cakes. Nowadays, non-traditional wedding cakes are more and more common, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. We're doing all types of different cakes. I think we're kind of going back to the traditional cake, which is nice. We were doing cupcakes for a while. We were trying to come up with different things, but I find that a lot of my couples now are kind of going back to a smaller cake. They want to cut it for the picture, for their future. But a lot of them just want to save it for the brunch for the next day and actually not serve it.
Well, since we've got you on the line right now and you've had the chance to kind of rub elbows with some pretty cool people, if you're okay with it, I'd like to ask you a couple things about that, and then we'll get back to the book. But we've got some of the weddings that you've been a part of, Gwen Stefani, Heidi Klum, Eva Longoria, Katy Perry. What is it like when you're working with somebody that's a household name, Ellen DeGeneres? What is it like when you're helping plan a wedding for somebody that's like a household name compared to just, Molly Smith from up the street? How different is that when you're putting that big day together?
Well, it's really exciting, obviously, to meet them. I'm so not jaded, and I get very excited to meet them. But after we get through the first meeting, they tell me of their dreams, just like any other bride, and then we move on like a regular wedding. The difference is their schedules are quite packed, so we do what I call power days. We meet up, we do a lot in one day, and then they have to go on to either performing or acting or whatever they're doing. But every celebrity, every high-profile person wants a beautiful wedding like they dreamed of, like all the other brides.
So when it comes right down to it, they're a bride just like you are.
Absolutely. A little more security.
Oh, yeah, and I suppose they can afford that cake that they really want, too. So.
Oh, yeah.
Mindy, it's really nice to chat with you. Thank you so much for taking time to visit with us. And also thank you for updating the book, because it's great to have all of this new information in there. The book is called The Wedding Book, An Expert's Guide to Planning Your Perfect Day Your Way. Where can we find a copy of this?
Well, you can find it on Amazon.com, or I will sign a copy at MindyWeiss.com.
Very nice. And then you're also on Instagram, and you've got a lot of followers on there. People, think about this. Anybody that's getting married, you'd be a fool to not follow her on Instagram, because you're going to have idea after idea after idea. So it's at Mindy Weiss on Instagram.
I post a lot of pictures.
And when you're getting ready to get married, you're always looking for ideas. So it never hurts to have more ideas, does it?
Nope. It's great inspiration, something you may not be able to do, but you could take something from the picture that you're enjoying.
Is there anything right now that's like a really affordable, but something that's just such a cool thing that everybody should have at their wedding?
Well, one thing they don't have to have is party favors. A lot of people are always stressing, what am I going to give out? So that saves money. Instead of a full bar, I'm doing a lot of wine tasting bars. So the clients are offering 4 bars, and I have somebody there talking about the wines. And and people seem to really be enjoying that.
That's a great idea, because I know I was a wedding DJ for many, many years. I don't do that anymore, but I remember back when I did that, one of the issues that I had is there are some people, when they would do the open bar, they would get there early, and they'd start drinking like crazy, and by about 8 o'clock, they were so drunk that they really shouldn't have even been there anymore.
Exactly. Oh, we have that, and now we really watch for it, actually, to make sure they don't get in a car. And the thing is that people love to party, but our bartenders will stop at a certain point so they don't get that slop.
Well, Mindy, thank you again for taking the time to chat with us today.
Thank you for having me.
We're glad to visit with you again. The book is called The Wedding Book, An Expert's Guide to Planning Your Perfect Day, Your Way, and it's available right now. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday.
John and Heidi.
Are you ready for Duel? Kyle Dowling on guitar, Brett Gunderson on bass, Sam DeVito on drums, and frontman Duel Shape.
Gotta keep rocking, gotta keep sucking, bringing it down like rain.
Duel's new single just hit iTunes and it's selling fast. Get your copy now.
When you're lacking chains and you feel no pain, Supernova gonna get you too.
Their first single, Supernova, is available now for less than $1. Learn more and find a direct link to buy Supernova at facebook.com/duelrocks.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A newborn baby breathes 5 times faster than an adult man. So little babies breathe faster than us old folks, us old guys anyway.
I knew that. I've watched babies breathe. They do breathe very quickly. Shallow in and out breaths.
Yeah. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A red-haired man is more likely to go bald than anyone else. I did not know that.
I did not know that either.
So now we know. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Where am I here? I'm trying to read this off a little screen still. The only athletics event in which you have to go backwards to win is what?
I don't know.
Tug of war. Never thought of it. Yeah. It's the only athletic event where you have to go backwards to win. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Asia is the largest continent on Earth.
Okay.
It counts for 29.5% of all of the land on Earth. I didn't know that either. And our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Lewis Carroll, the author of Alice in Wonderland, was an Oxford University lecturer in mathematics. So you wouldn't think of that, but today is Mad Hatter Day, so I thought I'd squeeze in a little Alice in Wonderland.
There you go.
So
that's
there you go.
awesome.
A couple of fun facts for you on a Thursday.
John and Heidi.
Legally, we gotta have insurance. That's why getting the very best rate is paramount. I'm Jared Parsons. I founded the first national and virtual insurance agency. Until now, you were limited to the agents in your area. But what if the rates are better somewhere else? At Parsons, we shop around and we get you the best rate. It's that simple. Go to radioinsuranceguy.com. That's radioinsuranceguy.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. 10 signs he's crazy about you. Ladies, if you're single and you know some dude that's single and you're just trying to figure out, is he into me or is he not into me? We have this issue right now with our daughter. She's got a young man that's definitely into her. And she's like, no, we're just friends. We're like, are you kidding me? No, he likes you.
Poor little guy.
Yeah, and she's like, well, I don't like him like that. We're like, you should like him like that. He's a good kid. He is a really good
He's
kid.
a very good kid. We like him.
I'm like, maybe I'm going to talk to him next time he's over. I'm like, hey, start treating her like dirt. Maybe she'll like you. I think that's the thing she's looking for. I don't know. Anyway, a list for the women, but men use this information to become better husbands and boyfriends too. So here are 10 signs he's crazy about you. You tell me how many of these I do. Number 1, he calls you for no reason.
Oh my gosh. You call me all the time.
Yeah. What do I call you, though? Okay, number 2, he describes you to his friends. I do.
I don't know. Do you describe me?
I definitely do, all the time. Number 3, he is nice to your friends. Am I nice to your friends?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 4, he listens intently.
No, you don't listen to me at all.
What was that? Were you saying something?
Yeah, you
I
don't
do.
listen to me.
I do too. I do
No,
listen.
you do not listen.
I hear you say stuff once in a while. There's stuff coming from that general direction. So far there's one and not in my favor. All the rest of these are in my favor.
Yeah.
He's can I skip this one then?
No. You have to read it.
He's punctual on dates. I left her at a store one time for 3 hours.
Oh, I was
I was pretty sure we were getting divorced that day. I thought you were going to kill me too. I didn't mean to do it, by the way. my phone died, so I was waiting for you to call me, and you never called. And then I was like, I think my phone is dead.
The most irritating thing is you never even checked your phone. You never even glanced at
I
it for
did.
3 hours to see were there messages.
We got some more here. Moving on. This whole punctual thing's killing me. Number 6, he doesn't scoff at your interests. Oh, I'm very interested in your interests. I don't scoff at them. I don't scoff hardly ever. Number 7, he doesn't mention previous relationships. Hardly ever.
No.
He loves to talk to you. Oh, I love to talk to you. Number 9, he makes actual dates with you. All the time I'm asking you to go do things, and you're like,
no.
I don't want to be seen in public with you.
You're
is
asking
what you're
me to
saying
go and
me.
do the things that you want to do and just tag along and sit in a corner all by myself, which I really don't enjoy.
Okay. And then the last thing is he puts how he feels into words. I can barely use words, so I'll try on that one, though. Guys, use those tips. Ladies, if he's doing that, that means he's into you. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
If you're a business owner or the person in charge of advertising, I have a special offer just for you. We're doing a jingle special this month. Did you know that when you put words to music, they're 9 times more memorable? How would you like to be the name in your industry and have people singing your song? We've worked with hundreds of small businesses to create their own musical image, and we want to help you too. Reach out right now and we'll give you $500 off. Squeeze it into this year's budget and get results for years to come. Learn more and hear examples at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com.
John and Heidi.
Did you know that pastors tend to suffer from depression and anxiety more than the average person? I didn't realize that. There's a thing called Clergy Health Initiative at Duke Divinity School. They say the depression rate among pastors was 8.7%, while the national ratio is 5.5%. Some of the stress contributors mentioned include dealing with numerous stressful situations, doubting their call, a sense of guilt over not doing enough, and feeling socially isolated.
I can see that.
I can see that too. So, and you know, especially the whole, you know, dealing with a lot of stress, because you have other people coming to you with their burdens, which, you know, I understand that. That's part of what you signed up for. But you're probably saying, man, I really wish I could help, and I don't really have a solution. So I could see where that is. But here's the thing I got to say. Take the advice that you give others and don't stress out about things. And I remember reading this, and I thought it was so cool. It said, don't stay up worrying about things. Give it to God. He's up all night anyway. And I was like, oh, how awesome is that? I want that embroidered on a pillow or something. All right. Coming up, we've got more fun stuff. It's on the way.
John and Heidi.
A man and a woman decided to get married, but the court clerk told them it wasn't necessary. You know why?
Why?
They were already married. Lovebirds were...
How would they not know they were already married?
Well, take a listen. They were they were saved from committing a crime of bigamy after a court clerk searched marriage records and discovered they were already married to each other. They got married in 1982. Things did not work out, so they filed for divorce in 1997.
Oh.
They missed each other greatly, so they started dating again in 97, and then they split up again in 99. So this on-again, off-again thing kept happening. But they went to the courthouse to get a marriage license, and that is when they learned from their lawyers, not from their lawyers, but that is when they learned
divorced to begin with.
that their lawyers failed to complete the paperwork, so they never really got divorced. Huh. So they said when you paid for that divorce...
I wonder if they got a refund for their divorce.
Yeah, it'd be like a nice wedding gift.
Yeah.
Tell you what, we're going to just refund that divorce. That is kind of funny. Anyway, I know people who've been married and then divorced and married to each other. I know someone that has been married to the same person 3 times. So that's just crazy stuff. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Election day is almost here. No matter which side you're rooting for, you now have a place to get informed and to truly voice your opinion at PoliticalStorm.com. An amazing resource with information from people on both sides of the aisle, all in one place. Watch videos, read blogs, listen to podcasts like mine, and read fun editorials. You can also contribute with your own blog for free. Be a part of the community at PoliticalStorm.com. You have a choice, and now you have a voice, too, at PoliticalStorm.com. That's PoliticalStorm.com. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Would you say that driving skills are hereditary, Heidi?
No.
Well, you might be wrong. It says here you may have gotten your mom's eyes or your dad's temper, but what about the driving skills? New study has suggested that bad driving is hereditary. Researchers at the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety in Virginia said that children of dangerous drivers have more accidents and more speeding fines than those of safe drivers. A childhood spent in the back seat of a recklessly driven car is likely to instill bad driving habits for you as well.
Okay, but this is where that title is misleading because that's not hereditary, that's learned.
Yeah, that's true.
Hereditary is something that
on.
you just get and you can't do anything about it. It's instinctively.
Yeah.
But this is something they've learned from watching it from the back seat.
If parents had 3 or more traffic hey, how you doing over there? If parents had 3 or more traffic tickets for traffic offenses, things like speeding or driving through a red light, then their children were 38% more likely to have broken traffic laws later. According to the study, sons of reckless drivers were twice as likely to have broken traffic laws as daughters, by the way. So this
that
all
would explain our son.
This explains a lot. My daughter is like the most.
She's like me. She follows the laws.
What's the word that I'm looking for? She's
a stickler.
I know, but that's not even.
She's a stickler. She likes to follow the rules. She wants to make sure everybody's following the rules.
Yeah, but there's a word for it.
Okay,
pain in the butt? Is that what? No, I shouldn't say that. No, but she really does. She does a very good job when she's driving. Our son, on the other hand, how many cars has he ruined?
Oh my gosh!
And it's not like he's ever been in an accident, but doesn't take care of them very well. Troy, I love you, buddy, but yeah,
he drives like you. He drives just like you.
So you're saying it's my fault? No, you're not saying it. This study is saying it. All right. Hey, good news. We've got some good news coming your way. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of The John and Heidi Show is brought to you by The John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying The John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news, and I think this is some good news right here. It says the former CEO of Mozilla, maker of Firefox web browser, has designed a new browser. Brendan Eich was heavily shunned after it was revealed that he has donated $1,000 to California's Proposition 8 bill, which redefined marriage as the union between one man and one woman. He recently announced that he has released a new internet browser called Brave. Brave is different from other browsers because it has less ads and is less intrusive for the user. It allows users to browse the web without being intrusively tracked or being forced to deal with ads that inhibit web searches. So I've got a link to this story on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. But he came up with a whole new browser. So like I use Google Chrome. I used to use Internet Explorer, and I still have that on one of my computers, but that's not a browser that works with some websites now.
Yeah. So I still go to Internet Explorer. I still default to that one. I don't like Chrome for some reason.
Well, this one here, again, is called Brave. I might check it out just to see. I've never been afraid to try something new. It might be kind of a neat thing. Here's the thing that's funny. They talked about the intuitively tracked ads that pop up. Facebook does that same thing. They'll have these ads that pop up. The other day, and it's usually about something that like you were talking about. So we went to Vegas one time, and we commented and took photos by the Bellagio fountain. And then like for 3 weeks, it kept talking about going to Vegas and, Bellagio fountain. I'm like, well, it would have been good to know that 3 weeks ago, back when we went. But whatever you're typing in there, your ads start popping up that way. So for some reason, on my ads lately, you know what's popping up over there? Form-fitting shirts. What the what? I'm over 300 pounds. All of my shirts are form-fitting. It's called stretched. They're stretched. I'm like, form-fitting shirts? When have I ever Googled form-fitting shirts?
I don't believe you've ever Googled that.
I don't think so either. And I've never even mentioned it on Facebook. Why are you guys pointing out form-fitting shirts for me? All right. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday.